So the big question is this: how are those in the self-storage industry like us going to be successful in today's market? That's the question, and this show will give you the answers. My name is Jim Ross, and welcome to the Self-Storage Show. Hi everyone, this is Jim Ross, the Self-Storage Show. This episode, I got Jordan Farr. He's a self-storage investment specialist at Marcus & Millichap. I like that. I like that title. How's it going, Jordan?
Hey, Jim, thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Got a fellow Utah boy here, so I had to reach out to you and talk to you.
Yeah, yeah, we'll have to meet in person sometime right around the corner.
Oh, definitely. We'll definitely do that. Yeah, I was wanted to reach out to you, and I've been talking to a few different people in this kind of sector, in this market, and people that are commercial realtors, and again, anyone that's in the self storage market right now in the last few years just knows it's it's a bit nutty. Um,
Yeah,
and again, look, from the outside looking in, all I ever hear is, "Oh, I listed my site and it sold for this much," and that's all I really hear about it. So I kind of wanted to have you on, just kind of give more of a, take under the hood a little bit more, like a day in the life of a, what you do as a commercial realtor, especially in this self storage market in this day and age right now.
yeah,
So, but
yeah.
anyway,
So,
but
oh,
first,
go ahead.
you gotta introduce yourself. Tell me a little about yourself
Yeah,
and how you
so
even got into the industry.
yeah, so my name, like you said, is Jordan Farr, and I am with the LeClaire Group at Marcus and Millichap. And the LeClaire Group, our founding partner, Chico LeClaire, is out of Denver, and he started as maybe the first self-storage broker 30 years ago. He saw an opportunity and took the vision and became, kind of the go-to guy in the self-storage industry 30 years ago. And since then, our team has grown and expanded, and we have partners across the United States, and we work with self-storage owners and operators to help them really maximize on their property and help them get the most out of them. And I, like you said, I'm based here in Utah and in Salt Lake City, and I primarily focus on the Utah and Idaho markets. And like you said, it's been a wild ride the last little while. Um, Self-storage it's become a real hot commodity, and we have been seeing, record transactions all over the place, left and right. And we've been lucky here in Utah, with the growth that the state has been experiencing. We're getting a lot of outside investors coming into the state of Utah looking for opportunities to purchase self-storage, build self-storage, and really capitalize on Utah's good fundamentals. So it's never been a better time to own self-storage in Utah.
Yeah, and anywhere too. Again, just we're a couple of Utah boys, we know it for sure. But yeah,
Yeah.
it just seems like everywhere it's going, it's going crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
some places are getting a little bit overbuilt, in my opinion, but at least here locally, I think we still got room to have a few more come on
Yeah.
board.
Yeah, and there's pockets, that I look at and I see some of those areas and I think, oh, we maybe got a little carried away there.
Yep.
Um, but it, a lot of these self-storage owners, they're in it for the long haul, right? Um, they're going to be able to weather some of those storms that might have come from a little bit of overbuilding, but with the population growth that we've been experiencing in Utah, I think that, there might be a couple of years where vacancy numbers increase, but if the state keeps growing like it has, everybody will be sitting pretty.
Oh yeah. So I mean, again, being a commercial realtor, obviously you're in it to help with the transactions and get the ball rolling. So I kind of walk me through it from beginning to end. How do you even reach out to these owners in the first place?
Yeah, so a lot of what we do, I mean, it does kind of fall back onto an old school approach of cold calling or reaching out to owners directly and just trying to build a relationship. And a lot of times we view ourselves almost as a partner with the owners. we want to help them, like I said, maximize on their properties. And sometimes that is selling their property and capitalizing on the equity that they've built up over the years. And more oftentimes than not, I would say right now we're just a good third party consultant that can help them improve their properties. So a large amount of my time is spent working with owners that have no intention to sell in the next 3, 6 months, maybe even the next year, but analyzing their property, doing an in-depth market study, going through rent numbers, occupancy numbers, market comparables, and fine combing through their income and expenses to see where there might be a little bit more opportunity for them to capitalize, maybe a little bit more income, maybe position it better for a sell in the future. But that's a large part of what we do is
Hmm.
we want to be a trusted resource to them because one day everybody will sell at some point or another, and we hope that we can just build a trusting relationship and have an opportunity to sell it in the future, but in the short term and in the time being, we hope that their properties can perform as well as possible.
Well, that's a huge value proposition that you're giving to the owners. That's great. Is there? I mean, again, you're providing that kind of value on the hopes of getting that rapport, getting that relationship that they'll call you when they're looking to sell. Um, is there a fee to get sort of like this kind of audit you're talking about?
No,
Huh.
I actually perform those free of charge for our clients, and like you said, it is a big value proposition that we provide, and
Yeah.
our our only hope is that when the day comes that they do decide to sell their property, they remember the hard work and the value that we provided, and they at least give us an opportunity to to present on their property and structure a scenario where we can sell it for them. Because that is, that's when we get paid,
Yeah. Of course.
but sometimes that might not be for 3, 5 years down the road, and we're okay with that. I actually have a client here in Utah that he's told me multiple times, hey, I'm probably not going to sell for 7 years. That's his number,
Mm-hmm.
and I've done 2 or 3 different revisions of the market study um, that we performed for him, and that's allowed him to get his rents closer to market rate. He's improved his occupancy numbers, and he's really capitalizing on some of the suggestions that we made. And I understand that that paycheck for me might not be for another 6 or 7 years, but it's worth it to build a good relationship and have a good rapport with the owners here in the area and help them be successful as well. Because I really believe in the saying that all boats rise with the tide.
Oh yeah, totally. And I'm sure you find the same thing, but of course, owners would be like, "Well, I want to, sell it for as much as possible." But it's not until you actually sit down and can show them in black and white. Okay, if you raise your rates this much, this is going to be the effect on the other side of how much it's going
Yeah,
to raise. You can actually make more than what you were if you didn't raise these kind of rates or these kind of repairs and this kind of stuff. And they can see that numbers in black and white, then they kind of make the connection of, oh, I guess revenue management is important.
yeah,
And it's it.
and not to make a pitch for you or, or anybody else, but
Oh, pitch away.
there's
Go ahead.
there's significant value in having professional management. Um, I think that there becomes a certain time where you look at the size of the property, the operations of the property, and what time it really takes to have it running at an optimal level. And that's something that we always suggest is, hey, you've got a fairly large facility, you've got a good thing going here, and it would be worth a little bit of capital to put somebody in place as a professional manager, and that can dramatically change the outlook of these properties.
Oh yeah, I mean it's you're speaking to the choir here, but it's not an expense. It's an investment. And if that manager company or that manager person's in charge is worth what they say they can do and what they can perform, well, that owner will get that back 10 times versus what they paid in for
Exactly.
the fee. So that's the ultimate goal is whatever you pay for a management fee, you can get that back 10 times in value. So
Yeah.
that's always my,
And that's funny because that's something that we say all the time because obviously we work off of a commission,
yeah.
and we strongly believe that when we charge a commission, we're getting at least that back for the owner, and we believe that we're worth our weight in the commission,
Yep.
because we do provide an excellent network of buyers and investors across the country that we think is pretty rare in the self storage industry to have a certain group that is as well connected as the LeClaire group is nationwide.
Yeah. I mean, do you have any numbers? Like, how big are we talking about?
Well, let me I can, as we're talking, I can pull up a little bit, but
Okay. Yeah, just
just
curious.
just just for reference sake, all of the self-storage transactions that were purchased or brokered here in Utah over
Mm-hmm.
the last 3 years, 52% of those came from a 1031 exchange buyer, and 70% of those were out-of-state capital.
Wow.
So those are just the brokered transactions, right?
Yeah.
That we have access to, and the data that we have access to. But I think that that's a very telling number, just seeing that, hey, most of the capital, most of these buyers that we're getting are coming from out of state.
I always love when I get a phone call from an owner in a 1031 exchange. He's like, okay, I have $3 million. Find me property in 60 days. Go. It's like, oh my gosh.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. And that's just the world that we live in now, where um, you're getting. I always use California as an example because everybody can relate and kind of
sure.
understands the high prices of real estate in California. But it's become a common theme in, I think, brokerage as a whole, but especially in self storage, where you take a guy who owned an apartment building in California. He maybe was a hands-on manager, and he was able to sell it for a low five cap. And he's now able to take that money and dump it into a self-storage property in Utah that maybe a Utah buyer would have bought at a 6.5 or a 7 cap.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this owner from California is willing to pay 5.75 or maybe a 6 cap because that's a lot better than he could get on his apartment building or anything like that in California. So he's willing to pay a higher price, and we're seeing that from we're seeing that all over the country, but Utah, especially with the attention in the economy and the business growth that we've had, we're getting buyers from New York, the Northwest, California, Colorado, all over the country dumping their capital here.
Hmm. Interesting. Never. I know it's everywhere else, but you never think good little old Utah gets that kind of cash flow. But again, it's an attractive commodity like storage. I guess. Yeah, everyone's going to want a little piece of it.
Yeah,
They want to
and
play.
the biggest drivers that we see for storage is employment and job growth,
Yeah.
um, related to population growth. And Utah's been, like I said, one of the leaders in both of those categories year over year. So the rate that these companies and headquarters are relocating here to Utah, and the jobs that are increasing, just more people that need self storage.
Yep. Oh, nice. Well, walk me back for a second. I'm curious. You said, a lot of the times it's just cold calls that you're getting the ball rolling to get that initial connection.
Uh-huh.
Again, I'm totally naive when it comes to this kind of stuff, but well, I'm sure you're like working off of a list that's provided, or how do you even get in people's info to even call?
Yeah. So I mean, most of the information is just public data, right? It does require a little bit of digging on our end, but we do work with a couple companies that all they do is they basically mine through public data for us. So
Hmm.
we're 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 very aware of there's the do not call list, and there are people that have requested not to be approached, and we try and respect that the best that we can and the best that we have knowledge of. But we do our due diligence and identify who the managing and ownership parties are. And like I said, it's usually just a simple phone call, or maybe even make a visit just to introduce myself
Yeah.
and just kind of let them know how I can provide value to their storage facility, how it doesn't cost them anything, and hopefully create a relationship that's good for the future. And some people, like any of us, when we've got a number calling that we don't that we don't know,
Yeah, yeah.
sometimes you're a little irritated and you don't want to talk to a guy who, would like to sell your facility. But I would say that most of the self-storage owners that I've dealt with, they're good people, and they understand that, hey, I can provide a value to them, so it is worth their time to just, sit down and meet with me for half an hour and let me run some numbers on their property.
And I'm curious. I would assume like doing this kind of audit and this free evaluation. That's not just your thing. It's kind of a Marcus Millichap as a whole. I'm
Yeah,
assuming they offer that. Okay.
yeah. So we have it's called the National Self Storage Group.
Okay.
And right before we jumped on the phone, I pulled up the list, just so I could have a good number for you. But we've got 53 agents who specialize specifically in self storage.
Huh.
So the
Wow.
company the company itself has, I don't know, over a thousand agents throughout Canada and the United States, but we have 50 50 agents who have dedicated and decided that self storage is going to be their primary focus. Um, so any of those agents nationwide, they would perform that same service, where they would be more than happy to run an evaluation on an owner's property and give them the feedback that they need, um, free of charge, to build a relationship for the future.
No, that's fantastic. And again, I've been in storage forever, and I didn't know that was even a, a possibility for you guys. So that's awesome. Again, it's
Yeah,
thought about being value, and again, I brought that up as far as like cold calling people and that kind of thing because I don't know, people are so cynical, and they're going to say, "What's the
yeah,
catch?" Quite honestly, it's
yeah.
like what? But no,
And
I totally get it.
Yeah, and we're very transparent in that. So
Yeah,
when somebody says, "Well, why would you do this for free? What's in it for you?" I'm very transparent in saying that, yeah, one day I would like to earn a commission by selling your property.
mm-hmm.
Um, but that might not be the right decision for you, for your family, for your business partners, this year, maybe not even in the next 3 years. But I'm willing to put the time and effort in to provide this evaluation for you, in hopes that you'll remember me when the day comes that you do sell. And so we try and be transparent in our in our conversations, and
Yeah.
hopefully provide enough value for them in the short term that in the long term they want to use us to sell their property and market their property.
No, I think that's amazing. That's great for you guys doing that kind of value in that service. So for anyone that's listening right now, which there's a bunch of us, but we are not just in Utah, we're all over the U.S. And hey, I haven't got people overseas, but for everyone here in the
Yeah,
U.S., rather than send them to somewhere else, let's send them all to you if you have questions, and if they're in different parts of
yeah,
the country, maybe you can forward them on to who to talk to. But what's the best
yeah.
contact info for you?
Yeah, so the best way to get a hold of me is probably my email address, and it's just jordan.farr@marcusmillichap.com. Um, or you can go to our team's website, which is the LeClaire Group, and we can help you that way as well. Get in touch with us.
All right, spell out your email.
Jordan, Jordan FARRER at Marcus, Marcus, Millichap, millicap.com.
Perfect. Because otherwise, everyone would be sending it to Jordan FAR and wouldn't be going anywhere. So,
Yeah, yeah.
uh,
And oh, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say that. So, an email is great. Do you want to have a contact number as well, or all to your email?
Yeah, email's the
Okay,
easiest way to get a hold of me.
making sure.
Um, but just for a little bit of reference, because I know you do have listeners, like you said, nationwide and all over the place. Our group, just the LeClaire group, we have brokered transactions in 31 states, and we've sold over 430 facilities. Um, Towards the end of the year, we should be up at the 450 mark, but close to $3.5 billion in transactions. So we've been around the block a few times.
Jeez, that's all, man. Okay.
Yeah, and our team is a regular at all of the state self-storage association shows. We try and be active in doing presentations and help educating self-storage owners. But when it is time for somebody to have a real evaluation or they're ready to sell, we've done a few transactions, and we can definitely help them get the highest and best price.
Perfect. Nope, that's great. Well, thanks a lot, Jordan. This was eye-opening for me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you for taking the time. Again, anyone that's interested, you got the contact info. I'll make sure to put that email in the links as well to make it easy. And again, thanks a lot, Jordan. We'll catch you later.
Okay, thanks, Jim.
Thanks for supporting the show. I want to let you know that we've just opened up our brand new free private Facebook group. There I'll be having some extra special content not found anywhere else. If you really want your facility to be a success in today's market, then this is going to be the place for you. You can request to join us at selfstoragecommunity.com or search for Self Storage Domination Community on Facebook.